Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Saturday. We made it to the weekend. Yet another week. We are going to give everybody a little bit of time here before we start getting into everything, to start hopping on to the different streaming since we didn't have any kind of countdown. So we got a few people hopping on Periscope. We got some D-livers out there. Got a few on the new YouTube or the new Redpill Project YouTube channel. All right, we got people hopping on. Say hey, everyone, when you got hop on. Nina Cook, hey. Welcome to Saturday. We're going to give them about, we'll probably start in just a few minutes here, start really getting into it. Let everybody get a chance to hop on. Patriot 17, how's it going tonight? Let's see here. I'm gonna hop on the channel. Yeah, we are good to go here. we need to get that out, YouTube channel next week. Have a countdown on that. We'll have to get that figured out.
You're muted, Vince.
You see us on YouTube?
Yep. Sure do. Hey, Brooke. We got Brooke over on Periscope. Welcome. We are taking just a little bit of time here just to let everybody hop on. Let our Red Pill peeps know. Climb BMX.
It is not coming up on the Pathways channel.
I didn't put it on the Pathways channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You shoot the link over in the chat if anyone has it.
Yeah.
Do you want D-Live or do you want the...
YouTube.
D-Live, John.
Yeah, I figured I'll leave. I don't want to put Jason's channel at risk. I'll let those guys tread that fine line. I know.
Yeah, I'm definitely a risk to that. No, I'm pretty careful.
Hey, what episode are you guys on for Laughing in Wonderland now?
We just
12?
published the 10th one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Took a few days off.
Yeah.
I got the YouTube posted in the app. I see Amicus, you got D-Live posted there.
And Twitch.
And
Well,
Twitch.
thank you guys.
Perfect. Sweet, that'll get a few people on. All right.
Yeah, Roxy Dog was requesting we did that because it's...
Yep.
Lolo, we got a couple of guests here, don't we? Yeah, we'll introduce them. We're just giving everybody a little bit of time to hop on since we didn't have the countdown.
Hello.
We got Jay. If it's on the new Redpill YouTube. If you're looking at the Pathways channel, I didn't post it to the Pathways channel just because I would feel guilty running the risk of getting Jason canceled. We've gotten Josh canceled so many times that we've all kind of gotten used to it.
We try to go out of our way to not get him canceled, though.
We do try. We really do try. Some of it was our fault. Some of it was not our fault and was just them being them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Valerie, how you doing? Plasma ship sighted in Netherlands. Oh, I'll check that out.
That sounds like fun. Here I was thinking about a cruise in the Bahamas. I'm just going to hop in the plasma ship in the Netherlands. That sounds like a damn good time.
Heck yeah. What's up, Roxy Dog?
Oxydog, ZZ, Valerie, JY. What else we got out there? Patriot 17. Yeah. We're going to be talking about CERN tonight, everyone. We had a lot of fun talking about it on last week's Fringe. And I didn't get a chance to do a lot of my homework, and it really sparked a lot of interest. And so we all unanimously agreed to spend the week digging into it. So now we're about 5 minutes in, so let's go ahead and get this started. I, as everybody knows, am Guy plus Beard. Got our two, the two to make the three amigos here, the Three Stooges is what most of us would call us, Amicus and Vince, and we got a couple of special guests. Doing? Good. Thanks, man. Got a couple of special guests here tonight, and I'll introduce them. So. We've got, let me see if I can point in the right side. Okay, we got Tom here. Tom was on the Fringe After Chat on last week's, not last night's episode, but the week before last. And that was the CERN episode. And he was really, I mean, he'd already done a lot of research on this. It's something that he had found some interest in and did a little bit of diving on. And he had a lot to say about it. And so, knowing that we were going to be diving into this, we invited him to do the deep dive with us this week and then hop on the show tonight. So, Tom, thanks for joining us this week and on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as far as being part of the deep dive team this week, we'll leave you on there, and you're welcome to hop in and chime in whenever you want. So,
super. I appreciate it. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And then down here, pointing on the right way, it's always backwards. It's like trying to do this in the mirror. So down here we have Mike. Mike is a longtime friend of mine, and I guess common views, common interests, and so we've shared a lot of info back and forth over the years. And when we started the deep dive team to help us dive into some of these topics, I invited him, and he's been helping us out. It's probably been a couple months now since we put that team together, didn't we? And
yeah,
he's been helping out each week, every single week. So
yeah, he kills it.
Yeah, so we appreciate your contribution, and Mike is a wealth of knowledge, and I would like to get him on a Fringe show with Josh because he's kind of got a little bit of that Joshopedia to him. He can just start pulling like this knowledge out of the top of his head. Like, holy shit, I didn't know you knew that. So that was the reason. That was why it was a no-brainer to bring you in. So everybody, that's Mike down there. So we got Tom and Mike as our special guests tonight. And tonight we're going to be going over CERN. What is it? Just kind of the surface explanation of what it is. And then we'll get into some of the fun stuff, the fringier stuff, I guess you could say. And that's where it'll get really interested. And I think that's going to be a longer conversation. So we're going to try to keep our usual news, Fugazi stuff shortened, which we try every single week, and we somehow end up making each one longer and longer. But I did trim it down quite a bit this week.
I remember when it was 15 minutes tops. Do you remember those days?
I remember those days, yep. Yeah, that worked out real well, didn't it? So, without further ado, let's get into the Fugazi.
It's all a Fugazi. You know what Fugazi is?
Oh, Fugazi. It's a fake.
Yeah, Fugazi. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart.
There we go. Tom and Mike are probably sitting there thinking, what is he doing? Because they can't see the video when I play it. So they're just sitting there staring at me, looking around, waiting for me to say something. So, all right, let's
what do I do with my hands?
Yeah, right? Do I do this? Do I do this? Pockets? Do I do that? I don't know. Why is it that's always the thing that's always awkward? Like, what do I do with my hands? Anyways, I digress. All right, let's get a little screen share going on here. All right, this doesn't look quite right. Let's do it this way. Ba, ba, ba. All right, there we go. Our lengthy, nope. Hold on. We're off kilter here. There we go. Alrighty. So many moving parts to keep going with. Alright. So, yeah, we all saw the Looney Tunes thing. We're all very familiar with the Looney Tunes thing. Pepe Le Pew has been canceled. I don't want to beat a dead horse, so the thing is it took all the thunder away from Speedy Gonzalez being canceled too.
Oh.
Did you
No
guys
way.
hear about that? Yeah.
No.
Come on.
Speedy Gonzalez, because it's cultural appropriation, right?
Oh, because he's Mexican?
Yeah. Because he's Mexican. I think
That's racist.
Yeah, they portray him as like. Doesn't he drink sometimes? I mean, it's a long time since I've seen Speedy Gonzalez, but.
I said he's Mexican. Just kidding.
I think
I'm
that's
part Mexican, for the record.
Right? Just so everybody knows. You can say that.
That's ridiculous.
I don't think that drinking alcohol is very seclusive. I think that's pretty inclusive to all backgrounds.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
You could say that about any.
Dude, the Germans
group of
always love
people.
talking about how they can drink beer. The Russians, their vodka. Irish, they're always drunken Irishmen that like to fight, drinking their whiskey.
They take pride in it.
Yeah, they really do, don't they?
They're like, no, we're bigger alcoholics.
Reminds me of Beer Fest. You ever seen Beer Fest?
Yeah.
Those German guys are making fun of the Americans. They're like, oh, why don't you go drink your Smirnoff Ice and punch out ceiling tiles? Oh, man. I haven't seen that movie for a long time. So this guy, Charles Blow, he's I tweeted it. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I tweeted a picture of him and I tagged him in it. And he is I called him the flapless ass jack that has been behind the cancellation of Dr. Seuss, Pepe Le Pew, now Speedy Gonzalez. He is a New York Times op-ed writer, and he's been the one that's been behind all of this.
Does he have a phone number?
He doesn't have a phone number, not that I know of, but he does have a new book coming out. Just ironically, what's a good way to get your name in the press to sell a new book that you just wrote? Is to start partaking in the cancel culture. And he's doing a damn good job of it, I guess, because it's hitting headlines. More from the cancel culture. The word normal has been canceled now, guys. Normal. Normal has been canceled. The Dove soap makers, soap and Axe, and what else do they own? Like when they have different types of soap for different skin conditions, and they have the normal skin condition. That hurts people that have other than normal skin's feelings. Not even about the color of the skin, just the condition of the skin. Dry, extra dry. So they've now canceled normal.
So what if it was normal to have some sort of epidermal condition? Would it be bad?
Well then,
because then that becomes the normal thing.
Well then, people that don't have an epidermal condition would now be the abnormal, and might get their feelings hurt.
This is ridiculous.
It is.
Can
just
they
silly.
just
Nonsense.
they can keep normal so long as they have abnormal added to some products.
This is why people end up making their own soap and detergent and stuff. It's like, why support these silly companies that push these things forward if they're
they're
not even anything special.
No.
It's just silliness.
Yeah, Dove is a ton of chemicals. It's really, if you look at it, it is just a ton of chemicals. There's not a lot natural to it. But moving on. So in the world of everybody's racist, the newest thing is let me pull this up. If you are white, you can no longer use Oprah, her face during the Meghan or Prince Harry and Meghan interview. You can't use her facial expressions as memes because that is now called digital blackface.
No.
Digital blackfacing, using a black person in a meme. If you're white, that's digital blackface.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Do they have like a committee of people that just sit there and think about how can we be offended today? How can we spin everything?
How can we be racist while also saying we're victims of racism?
Right? This is probably white liberals right here that came up with this. That's probably who it is that came up with this.
A lot of times,
and
that's true.
It's like I said, it's like the example I think it was last week. I said if you buy a new vehicle and you drive around, you start noticing more vehicles. If you're looking for it, you find it.
Yeah.
Kind of takes one to know one, right?
Yeah.
Anywho,
I use black gifts all the time too. Same Tara said in the chat she uses them.
Well, pretty soon that'll be canceled.
Not on my watch.
More on everybody's racist. So in this new stimulus bill, there was $5 billion $5 billion. No, $10.4 billion total aid offered to farmers. 50% of that is being allocated to black farmers only, or people of color that are farmers.
Whoa.
So I saw a statistic that 13 times that how do I say it? There's 13 times more white farmers than there are of people of color, which equates to 7.7% of the agriculture industry is owned by people of color. So when you inject 50% of a stimulus to just 7.7% of the workforce, is that really going to stimulate the agriculture industry?
And based off of race, that's racist.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely racist. And I don't know how the federal government can do that. How can the federal government issue out a fund and allocate it based on skin color? I don't know. Is that even legal?
I
don't think that's,
not to me.
I'm pretty sure that is not legal.
I think it harms society, therefore is very illegal.
I'm pretty sure that there's laws that are being broken here. But the thing of it is injecting 50% of that stimulus into 7.7% of, I mean, it's not going to help the agriculture industry much at all. So I tweeted out earlier, I retweeted this and I put that information on there, and I said when prices for meat and produce starts going up, guess what? People of all color are affected by that. So when you're paying more for your food, for all your produce, for all your meat, remember this. Remember this stimulus to the farmers. And you can thank the Democrats for that. This is ridiculous. Schools. I'm beginning to enjoy picking on these ridiculously liberal schools and teachers unions, because every week they are just a treasure trove of good Fugazi info or articles. So a New York school, and this is a private school too, have now stopped using the words mom and dad because they don't believe that it's inclusive.
Yeah, that's insane.
So
I rewrote a Dr. Seuss book, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, and removed mom and dad and all the colors as a joke. It's crazy.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that? Did you show that on one of your Wonderland episodes?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I read it.
Hell yeah.
It was kind of bland.
Was it?
Well, that's what would happen if you use that type of language. It becomes bland. We debunked the stereotype that bland is better. No, it isn't.
What about a mom who doesn't identify as a parent?
I know something like that. Yeah, I know something like that. So their suggestion is to now use examples like grown up or your folks or family or guardians
Folks
as
is a good
alternatives. Yeah, folks. Well, I've used that one before too. Also, like, you know, the caregiver, they mentioned that, which we've heard that before, caregiver or birth giver.
They should end every single one of these ridiculous articles with, also, you could just do whatever you want. Because, again, this is America.
Welcome to America.
Yeah.
Okay, so this UTLA, I talked about them last week, and they were the ones that were saying that it's only white people that want their kids to go back to school, and it's because it's their privilege, and they just want them there as babysitters and whatnot. So now the same teachers union, these people, this particular teachers union is just unhinged, completely unhinged. They are now telling their fellow teachers not to share pictures, vacation pictures, on social media, because they don't want to return to the classrooms, because, you know, it's so unsafe. But it's a little hypocritical for them to go on vacation if they can't go back to school and teach the kids, right? So they're telling their teachers, don't post pictures of you going on vacations. This is real stuff, guys. This is
already
trying to
implies-
control a narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, never mind. It doesn't need to make sense. Because I was going to say, if they're warning teachers not to do it, then isn't that already implying that they have done it or are in commission thereof of doing it?
Exactly.
So
that means that somebody's
go back
probably
to
done
school,
it already.
you lazy bums. Go back to school. Like, it's already bad enough it's an indoctrination center. You chose a career path. You follow it. You do it.
Yeah, you know, how are they going to... You know, it's these extremely liberal teachers unions that have, over the decades, taken control of the schools and use them for indoctrination. How are they going to continue indoctrinating the children if they're not going back to school? It's kind of an interesting, and they've kind of put themselves in a little bit of a conundrum there, haven't they?
Yeah, just a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But just, as I said last week, I have a ton of respect for teachers and what they do. I don't want that to be forgotten. I do love the teachers. I think that they should be... I don't feel like they get paid enough. I know it's hard to find funds when they're publicly funded, or, well, I guess kind of publicly funded. But
that is a fact.
Some of these people have taken this whole not going back to school thing a little bit too far. We'll just leave it at that. Now, Ricky Gervais. So I saw this today. I saw this today on Wayne Dupree Media. He tweeted it, and I instantly thought, wait a minute, am I following Ricky Gervais? I thought, how in the world am I not following Ricky Gervais? So for all of you on Twitter, if you're not following Ricky Gervais, I have that same question for you. How in the world are you not following Ricky Gervais? This guy is freaking hilarious. So this little bit, it's not nearly as funny as his Grammys speech, but he goes on to kind of tear into liberals. So I wanted to share this.
People take everything personally. I think the world revolves around them, right? Particularly on Twitter, right? I don't know. I'm not tweeting anyone. I'm just tweeting, okay? I don't know who's following me. I've got 12 million followers. I don't know who's following me. They can be following me without me knowing, right? Choose to read my tweet and then take that personally. That's like going into a town square, seeing a big notice board, and there's a notice, guitar lessons, and you go, but I don't fucking want guitar lessons. What's this? There's a number here. All right, all that, right? Are you giving me guitar lessons? Yeah. I don't fucking want any. Fine, it's not for you then. Just walk away. Don't worry about it. People take...
So true, isn't it? Just
Yeah, I love him.
move on to the next tweet, y'all. So that's about what I have for Fugazi. I told you I shortened it up pretty good, didn't I?
Wow.
I do have a couple of not so Fugazi stuff that I wanted to discuss real quick here. Well, let's see, which one should we go with first? Should we go Cuomo?
Ooh, go Cuomo.
Go Cuomo? Okay.
Go Cuomo first.
So since last week, where remember I showed that one of the state legislatures, I can't remember who she was. She said he was only at 3. His count was only at 3 accusers, and she said, well, if he has a 4th one, then we certainly should support him resigning. And then later on that day, it was actually, I think it was earlier that day, and so I added that in there. There was a 6th one, and now there's been a 7th one that's come out. And now apparently the staffers are no longer going into work because they're all afraid that the association's gonna kill their own career working in the the office of the governor. So, and I wish I had it pulled up, a picture of him like walking with his like little blanket around him on the phone. Did you guys see this
Yes.
picture?
Yeah,
of him? Yeah.
Yes.
And there was a caption it thing out there. So the Bernie meme, we may have just found our second Bernie meme. Cuomo walking around with a blanket wrapped around him.
Where should we put him? We could put him in a different setting.
You can put him anywhere.
I think somebody on the app called you guys out
Yes.
to do some work with that. So maybe that'll make it on Laughing in Wonderland this week.
We can see what we can do.
We should. I saw that on the app, and I was out and about, and I was like, "Dang, I wish I was at home so I could jump on my computer right now."
Yeah, this whole
But,
Cuomo
yeah.
thing is just I'm sitting back I'm just loving it. Because all 2020 I was just blasting him like, how are people giving this guy awards? How is he coming out with a book deal? This guy, he's bad news, people. Come on.
Honestly, I feel like, okay, let Cuomo fall. Cuomo's done. Let's go after all the rest of the crooks.
Oh yeah, I hope that when this domino falls, it leads to other ones like Governor Whitmer, and there was, yeah,
Going after criminally.
yeah, yep. I hope that this, and as Josh has said, they're tying up loose ends. They were useful idiots for them, and now they're no longer useful, and they're gonna tie up loose ends. Schumer came out today and called on Cuomo to resign, and according to the Twitterverse, I don't have this pulled up, but according to Twitterverse, what I'm seeing out there, that this kind of blindsided the White House, and I guess Biden is not too happy about that, and it's creating a little bit of a schism, I guess you could say, in the White House, but according to somebody's inside report, inside source. Apparently, Kamala Harris has privately said that she wants him out of there. She wants Biden out of there too. But we were pretty positive of that. But Cuomo, she wants Cuomo out of there. So he's got everybody gunning for him. It's not gonna. It's gonna. And he is fighting it tooth and nail. He does not want to go down. He's had 2 press conferences, which is 2 more press conferences than Biden's had so far in his presidency. Just throwing that out there. But he's had 2 press conferences come to where everybody's like, "Ooh, is this the moment? Is this the moment?" And he comes out and says, "I'm not resigning," and gives a politician's apology for offending somebody if he didn't mean to. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's epic. I'm enjoying it. Because I never liked this ass clown from day one.
Nope.
What do we have here? Oh, on to mayors. Ted Wheeler, mayor of Portland. The one that was just a few months ago really behind the whole defund the police movement.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. Apparently he's found out that that's a bad idea.
Yeah, he also
has-
participated in riots.
Yeah, he was even there during the riots. Yeah,
Yeah, didn't he get coated with pepper spray?
I think so,
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened, right?
Yep. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler has requested that city officials approve $2 million in funding to bring back police patrols following a large spike in crime rates. A large spike in crime rates?
You
No.
don't say. You don't say.
No. Didn't we have something like that on last week's show too? That said that New York has seen like 75 or what was it, 700% spike in crimes in 1 month or something like that. But De Blasio swears that it's the safest city in the world. He said, "In the world."
Yeah.
Nobody has ever said that New York is the safest safest city in the world ever in the history of New York. Nobody has ever said that. Everybody knows that New York comes with a certain level of danger.
Safe.
Number 2 behind Chicago, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. yeah, right. Chicago's number 1. Yeah, New York is number 2 safest in the world.
Yeah. Chicago is the safest city in the world.
Yeah, in the world of Wonderland. In the world of Wonderland.
Do not take that as serious, please. Anybody out there who doesn't understand sarcasm, please don't.
Yeah,
Don't think Chicago
right.
is safe at all.
No.
Thanks
no,
for
no.
the clarification.
And last on the agenda, which is going to wrap us up pretty quickly. I'm excited. We got a lot of time to talk about CERN. This is going to be good. So the Biden administration is eyeing eyes raising corporate tax rate to pay for the stimulus. So do you think that these guys just missed the economics class, or do you think that they know exactly what they're doing and are doing it on purpose? Because they understand that they raise the taxes on the corporate companies, that's going to be passed down to whoever the consumers or the end users are, right? Because the corporation's not going to be like, oh, sorry guys, looks like this year we're just not gonna make as much money because these taxes. It's just sorry.
Yeah. It's like they get told, hey, this is going to destroy businesses and make people get laid off and trickle down in a very bad way. And they're like, what do you mean destroy businesses? Amazon and Walmart are fine. We did the math.
Yeah, they did do the math, and Amazon and Walmart did really, really well during the pandemic. Very well.
Business is going to be doing better.
Now, I want to explain this just in case there's somebody out there, that supports this and doesn't understand the economic 101 behind this. So let me tell you, from a corporate standpoint, number one, what they're going to do is they're going to, in order to brace for the higher taxes, they're going to shed a little bit of weight on the company, which means they're going to go through layoffs. They're going to eliminate positions. And whatever their product or service is, they're going to work on maybe shedding some overhead through raw material or whatever it is that they do, right? They're a corporate company. There's many different products and services that they could offer. So I'm just kind of throwing a blanket statement over there. But the biggest thing impact is going to be, first of all, internally on the company. They're going to shed weight through elimination of jobs and positions. So you're going to cost jobs by doing this. Number two, that's not where they're going to stop. This is a perfect way to roll out the red carpet for them for increasing the costs of their goods and services. So now, as an excuse, you're going to say, oh, these corporate taxes, we just have to raise it. It's just, now it's going to cost more to do business. So we have to raise our margins. We have to raise the price on our stuff.
This is the opposite thing of what Trump wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly. So now what's going to happen is the cost of their goods and services is going to cost more to us, the consumers. Because here's the deal. These corporate companies have investors. They have a board of investors. They have, if they're a privately traded company, they have everybody out there, their stockholders to please. And if they can't just project that they're going to lose money because of this. You know what happens with investors or with their shares when they project a loss? It plummets. Their investors are not happy, and their shareholders sell, and their shares plummet. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do this at all. And now what happens is they're going to raise the price of their goods and services. So now when they take a look at their year-over-year sales numbers and probably even their margins, they're going to show a gain. So who's getting rich off this? I'll tell you who's getting rich off of this. The corporations, the shareholders, and the investors. There you go. Way to go. Who are the Democrats interested in enriching? Who? Who do you think they're interested in enriching? Think about it. Think about that for a little bit. This shit pisses me off, man. Pisses me off. And people are falling for this. I just don't get it.
You know, as somebody that pays corporate taxes, immediately I've got to come up with a strategy to make up 7%. And I'll tell you, the low-hanging fruit are cost of living increases for employees. So if you don't pay corporate taxes, don't worry, you're going to pay. You're just not going to you're not going to write a check, but it's going to.
Oh yeah. What does a company buy from other corporate companies? There's a lot of products and services purchased by non-corporate entities from corporate entities.
Yeah, and any businesses that shut down or things of that nature, all of that work a lot of times still needs to get done. So who does the work? It's the companies that are still floating, who have enough money backing them to get through all the BS.
Yeah. I work for a corporate company, and I can tell you that after the cost of doing business, after everything's paid, our margin is a little over 3%. That's how much actually goes into the pockets after everything is paid, wages, insurance, all the cost of goods. And I work for a fairly large corporation, and so I can't even wrap my mind around the entirety of the bills that our company has to pay. But so if you work for a corporate company that's pulling in 3% actual profit, 3 to 3.5%, and you have a 7% hike, that's bad news. You know what's going to happen? Me, the employee. Yeah. They're gonna have to figure it out. Insurance, huh?
You guys employee owned?
Yeah, we are employee owned. Yep.
So it's going to affect you on your profit sharing.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. That'll affect the profit sharing. So it affects our wages, how much we make. Another way to cut costs is insurance. If a company is paying a lot to have good benefits, well, guess what? They might not be able to offer that anymore. These are the things that happen when you start going after the corporations. And let me tell you, the corporations are not going to suffer. And that's why they're not fighting this kind of stuff. Because they know that they're going to be able to increase their prices. They're going to be able to shed their weight inside. And they're going to have an actual larger profit margin by this. And
to increase their...
Yeah, and the only people that are going to benefit from that are the stockholders and the investors and the top-ranking officials in the company, that work on bonuses and such.
Yeah, the good thing is they're going to take some of the money that they make from all this and create or grow their diversity training departments.
Yeah, they're going to use that. They're going to use that for and their carbon footprint departments, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And one more thing to mention with this, and then we'll move on. The corporate companies have extremely large teams of people or departments that are there just for tax purposes, and they work all year round working on the tax side of it and finding every little credit, write-off, whatnot, every little loophole that they possibly could use to minimize what they pay in for taxes. So if you think that raising the taxes on corporate companies that have the largest tax teams out there is going to really hurt them a lot,
They're already on it.
yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to digress from that because some of this stuff just gets me all worked up because it's just lunacy, absolute lunacy.
That's why we need tax people.
Yeah.
Get us off on every little loophole
Yeah, would be
that you
nice.
possibly could. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, guys, y'all ready to get into CERN?
Let's do it.
This was a fun one, wasn't it? So, what is CERN? We'll just start from the very beginning. CERN is, let me see here. I had some pictures. Oops. There we go. No, come on. I hate it how that pops up over that screen. Okay, so I'm going to do another screen share here. Screen share right there, and there we go. All right, so CERN is a large, what do they call it? Large hadron collider. Yeah, brain fart there for a sec. Yeah, it's a large hadron collider, and it's the largest. It's actually the largest machine in the world. And geographically, this is what we're talking about. It is a large circle that is. It looks like it's it's actually a lot more in France than I thought it was. It looks like it just kind of crosses over the border into Switzerland in a couple places here, which is really interesting that it actually crosses national borders. But it's basically a humongous science experiment, really is what it is. So back in all the way back to the 50s, there were theories about it was about the Higgs force, but I don't know if they necessarily had a name for it back then, but they knew that there was something that gave particles their mass, and they just couldn't find it. They didn't know what it was, and so there was theories about it, and they had, in order for a theory to become I guess a law in the science world, right? A scientific law or whatever. I guess I'm not quite sure what the term would be called, but they have to test the theory out, right? So they worked on this, and I believe it was in the early 2000s, like 2008-ish. I could be a little off on that date. That's when they started building this. And they completed it in... it might have been earlier than that. I think they might have completed it in 2008. And so what it is this large... that big circle that I showed, it's all this tubing. And what they do there is they run particles through there to collide. And they're trying to duplicate what happened at the moment, or just moments after the Big Bang, like nanoseconds after the Big Bang theory, to try to replicate that and study it, and find how things were created, right? And so I've got a cool video on this to show you how that all works. So there's those big tubes that they fly around in, and there's different sites here. Now, if you take a look here, there's a little site right here called Alice, which we found very peculiar. Alice, we were diving down the rabbit hole. Alice.
Yeah, that is super weird.
Yeah.
And I came across a weird ad from CERN or something from CERN where it literally was like an Alice in Wonderland animation reference. I wasn't able to find it again, though. I can't but if I do,
Did
I'll
ya?
share it.
Yeah, because I came across one too where they were explaining the science behind how they found the Higgs boson particle, and I don't know if it's necessarily called a particle. I can't remember the term, but the Higgs boson.
Yeah, it is.
Is it okay? So he was using and he specifically said a white rabbit. Could have been just any rabbit, but he did specifically say a white rabbit down in a hole of a tree, and he's using an analogy of like they put a dice in there. If he's a gambling rabbit, they put a dice down there, and while they were gone, they would flip it over to the favorite number, and it was just basically a way of like finding repetition and I don't know. Anyways, to your point, a video that I saw also made reference to a white rabbit. So there's probably no coincidence there, because we know that in the world of Wonderland, there are no such thing as coincidences, right?
Nope.
But so as I was saying, there's a spot right there, right over here. There's a little blurb there, a little bubble there. Those are all colliders, and they're observation centers. And there's people that work at each one of these. Yeah, observe. What'd you say?
Sensors.
Yeah, sensors. So that's where they collide the particles, and then they observe the aftermath, I guess you could say, the science of it. And that is what this is. So this is a guy inside one of those things. So this is no small object. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. That is massive.
Yeah, that probably gets filled up with more stuff, I bet.
I don't know if that's actually where the particles... I don't know. It's all very interesting. This is the outside of it, so that's what it looks like on the outside. So this is a massive machine.
Those are the sensors.
Yeah, this is a picture of the Alice location, and I don't have these in any particular order, so sorry. There's another picture of the inside. Somebody working on the inside, and this is a diagram of what happens on the inside when of the collider. And this right here is where the collision takes place, and that's where they call it the detector. And they have software that analyzes this.
Yeah, actually, the software thing interests me because a guy in the 90s who worked for them, he worked for CERN in 1990, and he developed the very first web page, basically the internet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. This right here is a picture of that software, what the software shows on their computer and how they analyze it. Now I can't tell you what any of this is, but this is just to show what they're analyzing. And so I'll get out of that screen share. So some fun facts here, and then we'll start getting into
You're muted.
Oh yeah. I forget that it does that. Yeah, so some fun facts here. I'll get into some fun facts, and then we'll start getting into the fun stuff, okay? I know these guys are itching to get into it because we before the show we were having a deep conversation about this, so I had to pull these guys out of that deep conversation, and then we're gonna throw you right back in. So that circle that we saw, all that piping, it's 16.7 miles long, pretty close to 17, right? Huh? Interesting.
They always mention it's 17 in articles.
Yeah.
So
I think the exact math, because they measure it in kilometers. I think the exact math comes out to like 16.77 or something like that.
Yep.
It is 328 feet deep underground, and so Vince, was that you that mentioned that the U.S. contributed? What was it, like 16 magnets or something like that?
Huh?
Somebody before the show said that.
That was me.
Oh, Amicus. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
You said that the U.S. contributed, what was it, like 16 or a dozen or something like that?
It's 16 by the total.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a drop in the bucket because they have 1,232 magnets in total at CERN, and what that is they use magnets to propel the protons or the particles through the tubing, and they
actually use waves, or they use some sort of wave to propel it, but they use magnets to turn it.
Both, yeah. They have different magnets that, from what I saw, for how I interpreted it, it seemed like they had magnets that were creating that wave to propel it, and also magnets that were used so that when it would go around the bends, it wouldn't just go straight. That it would create a certain amount of pull to keep it going in a circular direction.
Through the article in the chat. It was from yesterday. It's like current.
Let's see here. U.S. Magnet Development Project.
It was magnets and cabling as well, not just magnets. But
I have a fun fact on the cabling too. That's a big magnet. Hold on, I'm gonna share that real quick just to show the people the magnitude of these magnets. And there's a total of 1,232 of these things. Hold on one sec here.
The magnitude.
The magnitude. Ayo. There. Look at that thing. That is a big magnet, isn't it? Is that? I wonder if that's one magnet or if those are like sections. It looks like it could be sections.
It's an electromagnet, so yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
Sections all form one.
Yep.
I think you put as many of those together as you want.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure if there's 1,232 segments like this or sections like this. I'm not quite sure if a section would be considered one magnet. I'm not quite sure. But anyways, still enormous. It's not, not your refrigerator not your refrigerator magnets. So now these magnets, here's some interesting information. So they are powered by superconductors that are wired together with 155,000 miles of wiring. That's enough to go around the Earth over 6 times. That's a lot of power cables. And the magnets are cooled to negative 456.3 degrees Fahrenheit, which is below the conditions of outer space. Isn't that nuts? That is freaking nuts.
Yeah.
So they use like something like
liquid helium.
Like 2 tons of liquid helium to cool the magnets.
They actually had a disaster where they filled their workspace with liquid helium and had to have an emergency evacuation. I think I could be wrong. Something like that happened. Big thing.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot. So the power that it takes to get the electromagnets going and also to keep them cooled. What did you guys say? It was like they used up the same amount of electricity as the entire region around them does for all of their cities. That's a lot.
Immense amount of power.
Yeah. So
but in defense, they say that the power plant is mostly green, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, good for them. just like the protests were mostly peaceful, right?
That's right.
It's mostly cost efficient. Mostly.
Yeah, mostly. Whatever their definition of mostly is.
90% of the bill.
Well, I guess that would be mostly, huh? So with these, they're running these particles, the protons around, and they're having over 1 billion collisions per second in there. And what they do is they basically observe the aftermath. And in one video I watched, a guy explained it as basically if you're in the woods and you are looking for a particular animal, you don't see the animal, but you know that they've been in the area by their, the shit, their poop, and their footprints and stuff. That's what they're observing is the aftermath of that. The particles travel.
Except it's been cleaned up, so they have to have really sophisticated equipment because it exists for a second. Mm-hmm. They have to see basically that it was there based on what was sensed at that exact moment.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've had a lot of close calls where it was and it wasn't. Because aren't they looking for like two different photons to basically exist at the same point? It was one of those first videos that guy had posted up about.
Yeah.
CERN. They're looking for a key point, and there's like two criteria for it to have actually existed in that space of time. And if it's really debatable as the first couple of times it happened, if they actually saw what they saw.
Yeah. And that was the Higgs boson that you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
The existence of the positive charged electrons, I think.
Yeah. Well, the Higgs boson is what gives them their mass. Otherwise, they'd have no weight. They'd be massless. And the Higgs is what gives them the mass, but they've never been able to find it until this. This came around, and they actually still don't find they find evidence of it that proves that it's there, but they never can see it because it's just as soon as they collide it, it's gone. It doesn't exist any longer. Well, here's some fun ones. So those particles are moving at 99.99999. I think it's 6 nines percent the speed of light, which is really, really fast. To wrap your mind around how fast that is, so the Flash, who is arguably the fastest superhero, right? Some may contest that, but they say that he runs at like 2,300 and some miles per second. So that equates to 8,370,000 miles per hour. The Flash, right? Just to kind of wrap our minds around this. Light travels at 669,600,000 miles per hour. So that means that the Flash can only run at 1.25% the speed of light. That's incredible, isn't it? I like wrapping my mind around crazy shit like that.
Yeah, that's a cool way to put it.
Yeah. So I've got a cool video here that kind of shows how this whole thing works. So let's do another screen share here. All right. So here we go.
And create a double, an antiparticle. It has the same mass and properties, but the opposite.
I don't think I had my time right. Let me see. I have it written down. Did I write it down? I know I wrote it down. Where is it at? There we go. Yeah, I'm way off on time. Bad prepping, Travis. Bad prepping. 3:34. There we go.
It could fit in your pocket. But how can we examine such small particles? This is why the LHC was created. You take two beams of protons, accelerate them in opposite directions, and collide them with each other. What would happen if you put a brick on the ground and threw another one on top of it? Most likely, small fragments would fly off in different directions. Similarly, when protons collide, tiny particles can break away from them. In ordinary language, a collider is needed in order to see what happens when the protons and heavy lead nuclei collide. As the creators of the project admitted, pushing two protons together is about as difficult as getting a needle into a needle, provided that the distance between them is 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles. And at the same time, they need to collide exactly in the middle. Not so easy.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cool diagram, give you a good visual of what's going on there in that.
Makes me wonder how they actually align everything.
Yeah.
It needs to be probably calibrated to a pretty crazy extent.
Magnets would do that also. They're running through if they're running through a magnet,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a equal field all the way around, it would center them.
Yeah, and you can dial in the strength of the magnet in order to manipulate, left, right, up, down, whatever. Yep.
I thought it was interesting that they use lead particles.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't know anything about that. So, I'm not. I don't know a lot of the science behind it, but some interesting stuff that I found here. So, right at the very beginning of that video, it said something about fitting inside your pocket, right? What they were talking about was they were, again, kind of wrapping your mind around how small these particles are. And so they said, matter is made up of molecules. Molecules are made up of atoms, and atoms are made up of the protons, electrons, and neutrons. And that's what they're running around in the collider. But even smaller than that, these protons, electrons, and neutrons are made up of quarks. And those quarks are held together by, I could be wrong on this, but I believe that those quarks are basically held together in a sense. Maybe that's not the right term for it, but they're the ones where the Higgs boson is found, and that's what gives it the mass. But anyway, so the quarks are so small that they're observing in the aftermath. They collide the particles together, it explodes, and it's all over, and they're observing the aftermath. And the aftermath is these quarks, right? And pieces of the particles. The quarks are so small that if one atom was the size of Earth, then that would make protons this radius, like a circle that's the radius of a football field. So think of a football field as a circle. That's how big a proton would be if an atom was Earth. Those quarks that make up the protons are only 2 inches around if an atom was the size of Earth. So scale that down to something that's as small as an atom, and those quarks are really, really tiny. So CERN is most notably known for the discovery of the Higgs boson, as we've mentioned. And
I guess they've created like something like about 50 other particles in the process.
Have they? I didn't see that part. And I think Josh kind of touched on that before. If you collide the two particles together, some of the remnants that come off of them are particles that haven't been discovered before.
Every time you do it.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned, the Higgs boson is what gives all particles their mass, and without them, they would be weightless and just floating around, colliding with each other all over. And without it, without it, they couldn't really exist, and that's why they were dubbed the God particle, which was something that the media gave them. It wasn't something that CERN or any of the scientists called it. And that happened in, what was it, 2012? When they discovered that?
Proved it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they proved it, yep. And they shut down, what was it, like 2000? They've shut down a few times. They had a big, massive addition, or was it a rebuild?
Upgrade,
yeah. I think they're still closed currently right now, and they were due to reopen like around now. But I think I saw something.
They're opening now.
Are they? Oh, okay. I thought I saw something that got pushed back to this fall.
You may be right, but I saw the upgrade's complete, basically.
Yeah.
They're beginning the startup, so they have to get all the magnets up and running, and that's a big calibration process. They need to do it
probably, yeah,
systematically. Otherwise, they put it in a cryo freeze, so that takes time to get the magnets calibrated as well. At least that's my understanding. I read an article. That's why they did a pushback on the date.
That makes sense.
And they're colliding more at a faster rate, I believe.
Wow, at a faster rate.
Or maybe just larger clumps of
having more
particles.
collisions per second to observe and whatnot. Yeah.
So a shotgun spray.
1 to 13 TeV, which I'm not sure how much power that is, but it's 133,000 joules. Which sounds like a lot.
It's a lot of power.
It does sound like a lot, doesn't it? Like, I don't know how much a joule is, but it sounds like a lot of them. So now besides the Higgs boson, that's their their big pat on the back.
God.
Yeah, the God particle. That's the big pat on the back. That's the positive side from them. Now they've taken on a lot of negative reporting, I guess you could say, and some of it, I guess you could. This is where it could be getting. Okay, go ahead. Vince smells smoke, so he's got to go. Yeah, he's got to go investigate, make sure that the. I hope everything's okay. Maybe he just burnt pizza or something. I don't know. But, so one of the, we'll get into the big one in just a minute. But one of the first things that came out that was some negative publicity was they were being accused of possibly being able to create a black hole. And interestingly enough, they actually had scientists, when they were opening, they had scientists that were trying to take them to court to prevent the opening out of concern that it could create a black hole. Now, the courts ended up throwing it out, but that's because they must have proven. So this kind of shows that CERN has acknowledged that they can potentially create a black hole through these collisions, but they said that it would be so small, so minute that it would dissipate in a moment's time.
Oh, just a tiny black hole.
Yeah, just a tiny black hole.
These weren't no-name scientists. Stephen Hawking and Neil Tyson DeGrasse. What's his name?
Neil Tyson DeGrasse or something like that.
Yeah, and Stephen Hawking
Neil.
had a big concern.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
DeGrasse. Yeah, there we go. There it is. Yeah, I forgot that it was them. I forgot that they were against that. I've seen some stuff about with Neil talking about it, and I guess I didn't see any of the ones of him talking badly about it, but I do remember, or not talking badly about it, but having concerns with it. But I do remember now that you mention it, seeing Stephen Hawking's name tied to that, having concerns over it.
He said it could destroy the universe.
I was going to say, that's what he said. Yeah, it could destroy the universe.
Yeah. Now, here's the interesting thing. Have you guys seen Angels and Demons? That movie that was with Tom Hanks. It was kind of like the sequel to the Da Vinci Code. You guys remember the Da Vinci Code, right?
Yes. I read the books. Read the books as well.
I read the Da Vinci Code book. I didn't read Angels and Demons. But I guess it wasn't necessarily a sequel, but it was that same character.
Yeah.
Right? And in that movie, I can't remember which country it was, but they had, and they actually, in the movie, referenced CERN as being the source of this, but they found they had 1 gram of antimatter in a bomb, and that bomb could blow up. It was like in Italy, and that bomb could blow up
the
all
Vatican.
Up. They had it. There we go, in the Vatican, and they could blow up, that whole city. And so that kind of put it out into the public, into the mainstream, and so that's when it became a real mainstream concern that they could create a black hole. Now, some of the stuff that we found, now here's the thing is, when you're looking at something like that, you're always going to have, I don't know whether this is true or if it's, cover up or whatever, but I think it might have even been Neil, what is it? Neil Tyson DeGrasse or Neil Grasse?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
There we go. That one. I'm just going to Neil
deGrasse Tyson.
Thank you. I think it might have been a video with him that was explaining how that could even happen. And I guess it could potentially happen because I don't know if they've actually discovered antimatter, but that's one of their ambitions is to discover antimatter. And the amount, basically he ran the numbers, he talked about the numbers, blah, 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 and said it would basically take 1 billion years for CERN to create 1 gram of antimatter.
Did you Did you? There was a picture I sent during this week on the outside of that warehouse, and if you enlarge it, you'll see that it's signed on. It says antimatter factory.
Really?
Do you see that? I don't remember what day that was. I sent that. It was pretty early, maybe Tuesday. It'll look like an airplane hangar.
Let's see here.
I'll find it and put it in Adobe Spark.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not hiding it. I mean, they're outside of the building. It says it. Pretty large.
So they are actively creating antimatter then?
They would lead you to believe that.
It kind of would, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, what they want to do is they want to make an antimatter particle and then combine it with a normal particle.
Well, they're doing that research. They said that antimatter should be seen or visible all through the universe, and it's not there, and they can't explain it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting stuff, the antimatter. And you're right, that's what they say is they acknowledge that it's there because of the evidence, but and they think that it should be visible, but they can't find it. And they say, and one explanation that kind of helped make me understand it is antimatter is basically when you look in the mirror and you move your hand, you move your right hand, and in the mirror it's your left hand moving, right? So it's kind of like the mirror of matter, but it's the actual opposite, like a yin and a yang kind of thing.
But that's what if it was a yin and a yang, it would be present, but it's not. So, you know, it's is it disappearing or where's it going?
And maybe they know through the evidence that they're creating antimatter there, but if they can't see it, then they probably haven't harnessed it, have they?
Well, I don't think there's any way to harness it. All they can do is try to contain it. It's the most unstable particle, I guess.
Yeah.
That they're aware of. I mean, it's not harnessable. It's a black hole when you put enough of it together.
Yeah, they opened up that factory in 2000. So CERN has the actual website has a whole page on it. And you can see, like you said, plain as day. It says right on it, antimatter factory. Crazy.
Yeah. So now another.
Maybe just wanted to screw with people like us, and you know, could be.
Right? Leaving the trail, right?
Right.
Here you go, conspiracy theorists. Follow this.
False
Yeah.
Yeah.
Breadcrumbs. Now the really fun one, the really interesting one that can really go a long ways is the one that the theory that they're creating a portal there. And not that it's necessarily validated, but this may have contributed to the spread of that theory. There was actually a scientist that, to the media, said, and I don't have the exact quote, but he basically said that this could create a portal to other dimensions. And he told this to a media person that, of course, printed it. So it's out there. So you can...
I think it was. I was going to say that's Sergio Bertolucci.
Oh, you got that information there. Nice.
Yeah, the director of CERN. He actually said they're hoping to open up unknown of unknowns.
That's what it was. Yep.
Yeah.
You're right. That's what he said.
Or have unknown of unknowns come through whatever they open. So, yeah, you mentioned portals. What's a black hole potentially?
Right.
True.
Gateway.
Bizarre on that is they're cranking the power up on this new upgrade, but they only ran at like half power on the last configuration, except for one time. And that was, they don't talk about that. That's the time they just don't talk about that.
Huh. Really? I didn't see that. That's interesting.
That's
Why?
when things get a little off the wall. Yeah. It was an after hours. They fired it up, and I don't know how. I thought that I had it written down the amount of power that they went to, and that's where things opened up.
Yeah.
So maybe they're upgrading to be able to duplicate that without running that at full bore, because if you run a machine at full bore, that's when it can start malfunctioning. But if you can get the result at half speed, that helps with the longevity of the machine, right? So maybe that's their whole purpose of the upgrade, is to recreate what they did without having to strain the machine so much. Now, this is all speculation, and I'm going to preface this with saying that this is probably going to get a little bit on the the side of fringy, and it does have some undertones of different religions, and I know that we have some viewers that have different beliefs and such, and I want to preface this with just saying that we're not stomping all over people's religions or anything like that. This is just a matter of we investigated and we're reporting, and it's all for educational purposes, okay? Just because we're talking about it doesn't necessarily mean we do believe in it. We may believe certain assets of or facets of the whole theory, but it's educational purposes, okay, guys? So let's get into the fun part of it. So we're talking about the opening of a portal, and so looking at my notes here. So first of all, starting off with the location. The location that this is built on is believed to be an ancient location of the abyss of Abaddon. Right? Am I right on that?
Yeah, Apollyon.
Yeah. So now this is where I'm not able to really talk off the top of my head. So please guys, go ahead and take over. Explain to us.
Well,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say they built it over the ancient ruins of Apollyon. It's a Roman city, basically founded in 50 BC, and they took it over from the Gauls, and it has history with the Gauls dating prior to that. But this all links to even older history with Abaddon, who's mentioned in the Bible as both a person and a site, and that ties to the abyss. Essentially, some people interpret it as hell. You were going to say, Tom?
No, that I was just for clarification with people, because I didn't know this until we started doing this research, is that Abaddon and Apollyon are the same. It's just Abaddon is Hebrew and Apollyon's Greek.
And then it ties to Shiva also. And they're all known as the Destroyer. So Abaddon was actually mentioned as a Hebrew angel. So linked with destruction, death. As I mentioned before, also a location. Some people think it may have been hell itself. And they keep mentioning throughout ancient texts the abyss. And also the book of Revelation. It mentions it in Revelation 9:11, oddly enough, as, let's see, it's the name of the angel at the bottom of the abyss. And it's the gateway that opens. And Abaddon actually comes out with locusts and wreaks havoc on mankind, torturing people. Good stuff like that.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's why it's gotten a reputation in this aspect as a portal to hell, or a potential portal to hell.
Yeah, and when they were celebrating the opening of it, they had that ritualistic dance.
Well, that was the opening of the Gotthard base tunnel, which is actually.
I thought it was related to CERN.
Very similar. They both had ceremonies.
That's right.
rituals.
Did they?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So I took that ceremony and clipped it, and we'll take a look at that later. But that one was the Gotham Tunnel, which is the train tunnel that goes underneath or through the mountains, the Swiss Alps, and that had a really, really creepy. Well, to me, it was creepy. Ceremony, and so they have a similar one at CERN.
Yeah, where
Oh
they
my gosh,
actually
no kidding.
they have a mock sacrifice of a woman before Shiva, to Shiva. Yeah.
Holy cow! I didn't see that one. Man, I wish I would have seen that one too. So
Let's see if we can. It's out there.
Now the Swiss, they have they're what would they be? What could they be considered? Paganistic? I mean, what are they? Because
Probably would tie to what Tom mentioned with Cernunnos earlier, which also kind of ties into Abaddon, Apollyon, Shiva. So Cernunnos is also Pan, and referenced as the horned beast, the triple goddess, links to Osiris, the green man, who's identified by the number 17.
So there's a lot of mythological aspect to their culture there, and so I know that there's been on the flip side of the reporting on these rituals, some have just attributed to their that's just their culture. That's how they celebrate stuff there. So I guess as Biden would say, cultural norms, right?
This is a worldwide.
So. Yeah, you could chalk it up to whether it's a cultural norm or, satanic ritual. We don't know. I don't know. But there's some eyebrow raising things that took place during those ceremonies. And I could play that. If you guys want it, I don't want to take you off topic if you guys had more to say.
It ties into what we're talking about right now. I think it'd be great to show it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it opens up your eyes.
Let me get that pulled up here. So whether it's just a parody of some cultural theology, or if it's an actual ritual, she could certainly make arguments both ways. Let's see here. Where do I have that again? Oh yeah, no. Do I already have it open? I do have it open already. Okay. So let's get a little screen share going here. So now this video is about 15 minutes long, and we can talk over it and narrate it as we go and discuss. And so this might actually end up, but we can pause it and talk a little bit more, guys, about certain things if you have more to add to it. So it might go a little longer than 15 minutes, but it's the whole ceremony was about an hour long, and I'll post. I got links to there. There's 2 links for for 1 hour each, or a half hour each, for the entire ceremony. I'll post those if anybody wants to watch the whole thing. It's a little creepy, but I'll get the screen share going here. There we go. Okay. So starting off, let me move this out of the way. Sorry everyone. Why did I do that? Come on, cooperate with me. There we go. I want to turn. Okay, I want to keep that sound down so it's not blasting so loud. So starting off, the whole thing is choreographed. Right, so starting off, they come through this tunnel in this choreographic march, dressed as construction workers. And in some of the analysis of it, they say that they look like zombies. So then they usher in this rail car, and they have, a dance on there. Choreographed dance. And this goes on for a little while. and leads to another cart that comes out where these people are not dressed quite so much like construction workers. They're a little more revealing, and they have this character on there, as you can see there, that and some some speculation that could be the fallen angel, a depiction of the fallen angel. And I'm just gonna pause it there because this gal is topless, so I had to put an edited photo in there. But they go into, so they all hop off of that cart and they go into this choreographed aerial show. People are spinning around on these cords, and they're doing dances underneath her, right? It seems as though they're almost praising her, right? And then another cart comes in with this character on there. And this is where it starts to get a little bit odd. So you have this horned goat, which could be interpreted as as Satan. We all know, the depictions of Satan as a horned goat, or a horned man, I guess you could say. Now, Mike, didn't you say that there was also in their mythological beliefs that there was someone that was a horned god, or you just mentioned
him? Cernunnos or Pan.
Pan. Okay, so this could be a depiction of Pan.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come out with these. It almost seems as though like a ritualistic offering with these branches. It gets really, really weird.
I've heard that could be upside down trees.
Yeah, like the tree of death. Or,
I've actually heard it's the roots of a tree underground, the inversion of above.
Yeah.
So.
And it almost seems like that's interesting to say the least. Looks like offerings, if you ask me. So then they have, so that goes on for a while, and then they kind of dissipate a little bit, and then they have this guy come out and do some, like, it sounds like yodeling to me, and then they have this whole show, music and show with vehicles driving through there. They had a depiction of the Pope driving through there, which this runs through. Doesn't this run through this whole rail system run through Rome at one point, or through Italy? I think it connects like Germany, Italy, Switzerland, France, that whole rail system there. So they just had that going on, and then this cart comes out with these people that are dancing, and they've got this enormous head with just a red veil behind it. And in some of the stuff that we were looking at, they interpret that as possibly like blood flow from a decapitated head as a form of a sacrifice. So this was the first half of the ceremony, and they do this for a while, and the cart rolls out, and then they show a video of the actual train running through the tunnel, which oddly enough, I mean, this is all this for a train track, a tunnel. That's kind of strange, don't you think? And oddly enough, in this entire ceremony, they only show a video of the actual train running through it for twice for just a very brief moment of time. So I think that I find that kind of odd. Although they did have rail cars on there, but it's not like those kinds of rail cars on this train. It's more like an Amtrak type of train. So after this, they bring it outside. This is where it starts getting really weird, as if it wasn't already weird enough the way it was. And so they come back out, and once again, it almost kind of repeats itself. So they start off with these workers that are in this like kind of a zombie state, just marching. And they march up this platform up to this extremely large screen. You notice the like ritualistic drums in the back. So they get up to the screen, and then these guys start to climb up and appear to be, scaling the rock. And as you'll see in a moment here, the rock begins to break away, and it reveals a tunnel, or this actually, definitely looks like a portal. Take a look at this. And they go through this choreographed dance here in front of that screen where the tunnel is like a spinning, it looks like a spinning portal. It does that the entire time. It's just a spinning, and they changed the imagery, but it's still got that same spinning portal feeling to it. And then they do that for a while until all of a sudden they start going kind of chaotic and start stripping down. So once again, remember, it went from construction workers to, the people that were just in their undies, I guess you could say. And then they start this, looks like a ritualistic dance.
Yeah, the amount of planning that went into this. Really strange.
Yeah. For a train tunnel. So now you've got, I'm trying to remember the timeline here. Okay, so they do that for a while, and then they completely strip down, and you've got watch those three guys in the orange back there. So what they end up doing is they scale the rock again. And this looks like to me this looks like a ritualistic dance. It reminds me of a movie that I watched, and I can't remember the movie off the top of my head, but it was actually based in Switzerland too. And it got really strange like this. And so all of a sudden they stop, and they fall back into their trance. And they're staring at those three guys scaling the rock, and it's gonna cut over to those guys here in just a moment. Okay, here's where sorry, I could have trimmed some of this out, but this is the moment when those guys start to scale up the rock. Now watch what those three guys do in a moment here. Now watch these guys. Look at them. They're just hanging there. Now they're depicted as dead. Or dying. Or maybe. And there they are. Look at, are they... Now they're dead. Maybe like a sacrifice. This is where it gets, extremely creepy. So they're dead, and they kind of come back for a moment, and then they go back to being dead. And then, as the dance is going on down below them, maybe they're fighting for their life. I don't know what that's supposed to depict, but so they get lowered, and then the dance commences, and now you see the video of them spinning. So they died, and now they're spinning through this portal, right? Maybe down to the depths of hell. I don't know. And as you'll see here in a moment, 3 people will rise up, and to me, it kind of looks like this is explained in the video that we watched about this, but it kind of looks like their spirits rising, doesn't it? So there's sacrifice, and now their spirits are rising.
It's so weird.
Isn't it?
A lot of symbolism.
Yeah. Now take a look at the screen behind them. That's been some of that's been speculated as the all-seeing eye. Kind of looks like an eye, doesn't it? So that goes on for a little while, and then now we have all these people that come walking out as in that same kind of a veil that looks like the spirit veil, ushering this goat head guy out again. And all those little hay bales or whatever they are supposed to be. And there's that angel again, the fallen angel. But the fallen angel doesn't have that mask on anymore, but they still got the angel wings. And if you take a look, the goat guy, his face is now blue, which it wasn't in that first half. So I don't know what that's supposed to symbolize, but they go on and do this weird dance for a long time. So this goes on for quite a while. And you can see his face back here. And now they raise up these beetles. The 3 beetles, which I find interesting. Because in our conversation this week, Mike, was that you? I think that you, in our conversation, you were talking about, we got on the subject of the Beatles, the Beatles and the Beatles. You know what I mean? So what...
symbolism behind the Beatles and music in the 60s tying into Tavistock and the social movements, stuff like that, yeah.
But what does the Beatles symbolize? Why the Beatles here? Amicus, you might even know about this too, about the symbolism of the beetle. It's coming up here. There.
Goes back to Egypt. They're scarabs.
Yep.
Yeah, so
in Revelation 9/11, what was it that came with a Biden?
Was that locusts?
Yeah, locusts. They have a very detailed description. They have basically scorpion tails, lion's teeth, and they torment people for 9 months, which ties into the lifespan of locusts and throughout historical locust issues. But yeah, that's
jeez, those are a lot scarier than the locusts that I have imagined. Holy crap!
I didn't know if maybe the Beatles could be symbolism for that, but I don't think so.
No,
probably more along the I thought of that too when I saw this, but probably more along the lines of the symbolism from ancient Egypt, that kind of thing.
Basically the scarab right here, what I'm looking at, it's a symbol of immortality and resurrection.
Resurrection, there you go. Mortality,
yep.
Resurrection. So that dance goes on for a while, and then this gal comes out, starts singing. And once again, you've got people bringing offerings, right?
Yep.
You got your trees. So it kind of, a lot of it repeats some of the stuff that they did on the inside there. So I wonder if it's almost like a symbolism of releasing him from the depths of hell out into the world.
Yep.
Through all the dancing, he ends up laying there for a while and just stays there for quite a while. So there's your upside down tree, or the root system, as we talked about.
Yes, Cernunnos is also the god of fertility too. So
Who is?
rebirth. Cernunnos.
Oh, okay.
Trees and roots and horns. That's what I think.
And all the sexual dancing, the ritual.
Yeah. Now remember, guys, this was the ceremony for the opening of a train tunnel. A train tunnel. I'm gonna sound like Allen Iverson here. Practice. We're talking about practice. This was a train tunnel. This seems really off topic.
It's a lot. For
Yeah.
Just a train tunnel opening up.
And then this starts, and it's like, it's a little bit odd. I don't know what this means. Maybe the modern world with mechanics and stuff. But they put on this little, choreographed skit here. And I guess, if you're thinking about it, if the devil is in all this, all the symbolism, the devil is in all the technology and modern world. Maybe that's what they're... So that goes on for a while, and now you've got this gal that comes out. And it's been speculated that this could be the bride of the Horn Man, the devil, whoever you think you may depict, but she's clearly pregnant here. So we're looking at possibly the pregnant bride of this interesting character here. So here's where some of that sexual stuff comes into play. He just gets a little bit frisky with her. The whole thing has a lot of sexual connotation to it. So this bizarre dance goes on for a while, and in a moment here, she actually starts giving birth.
Ouais. Est-ce qu'il demande quoi?
Just your normal birth.
Yeah, right?
Il demande tout.
And you've got these depictions of, depiction of politicians. Actually, I don't think the birth has come up yet. So you've got these guys with the big heads that come out, and they're depicted as like politicians. And so if you stick with the theme of that, this is symbolism for the devils and everything. You got the devil in politics, which be hard for anybody to argue that or point, right? So here comes the actual birth part, and she miraculously gives birth to a full-grown human being. So that's basically all of it. So now, the whole thing ends in like a dance of celebration, and that's what this is. So I just wanted to point out one interesting part here is coming up. They depict, they have a clock on there that is kind of looks as though they may be alluding to time spinning out of control. But besides that, that's basically the end of it. So that's the end of the ceremony. They dance from there, they dance from there, and like a celebratory dance of the birthing of the devil baby, or devil spawn of Satan.
Yeah.
So
dude.
now remember, this was for a train tunnel. And CERN, so now the link to CERN there that besides the fact that CERN had a similar ceremony, is some of the people that work at CERN, some of the scientists and everybody at CERN, were actually in that particular ceremony. They actually participated in the ceremony. They were some of those actors out there. So it's hard to ignore the possibility of something ritualistic going on there. Now,
Yeah.
if they go ahead.
I just looked up the amount of global NGOs in that area. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Well,
So,
World Economic Forum is out in that area.
and WHO was out
Yeah.
there. That's their headquarters, United
Oh.
Nations headquarters. Red Cross. I mean, the list is long.
Holy cow! And that's big names.
So you're going to draw in some questionable people.
Yeah. I know at the ceremony they had the president, or whatever the technical term is, but they had Germany's president, what's her name, Merkel, and Italy's president there, and who else? France. I think it was the presidents of the places that it's connecting. You know, France, Germany, Italy, and Switzerland, amongst many other people, but that was some of the notable names there. But, you know, in some of our speculation, we kind of questioned. Now, if you do have ritualistic things like that going on, and they call that a parody, but I'm telling you, that looked pretty specific for it to be a parody. And if there is, you know, if there is, let's, you know, whether you believe it or not, let's just for argument's sake, let's say that there are entities that can be summoned through a ceremony. Do you think that they're going to draw a line between what's parody and what's real? No. If you accidentally summon something, yeah, shit out of luck.
Really,
they're not going to be like, oh, sorry guys, that was just a joke. Oh, I thought you were summoning me. Sorry. All right, I'll go back. I'll just wait for next time. Not going to happen.
No.
Not going to happen.
Gonna,
no.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
It's going to latch on to whatever it can, because you called it out. So Pandora's box, you open it, you're stuck with it.
You can't close
there's
it.
There's no shutting it.
That's right. Now, on top of that, if they are doing ritualistic stuff like that, whether it's in, you know, right in our face and calling it a parody, or behind closed doors when they, you know, turn up the collider to almost full speed and don't want to talk about what happened. What happens those magnets? Now think about the energy field that would create running that during a ceremony. What if they were running that thing and they were geographically right in the middle of that circle? What would that do? What would that do to amplify a ceremony?
Well, kind of like how people that practice magic will often draw a circle and a star in it and dance around and do all kinds of weird rituals.
Yeah.
They say that people are like, yeah, you do that and this and whatever, and you open up portals by doing these ritualistic dances. CERN opens portals. So a lot of people think. They talk about that nonchalantly. So
yeah.
It really is ritualistic. CERN itself is a big circle.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It is.
No. No coincidence.
No, and I wonder if those collider sites, the observation sites, if they would match up with like a star. If you put a star in the middle, if they would match up to the points of the stars, or
Bet you
whatever.
it could.
I was wondering that.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Put in all the smaller colliders around there if they have significance where they're at.
Yeah. we hadn't even gotten down or went down that road, did we?
Yeah.
See, that's where this could lead all over the place. It could lead to a lot.
I'd be curious to see what the Richter scale was doing during that, because when that collider is running, they actively have earthquakes.
Huh.
So that would be a pretty way to know if they were running while that was going on.
And compare it to other seismic activity when they run it. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, this one time the seismic activity was a little bit higher than usual, guys. Yeah. In fact, the first time when they first opened it, it was shut down 9 days later because they had some catastrophic malfunction with the machinery, and the activity of it going around actually destroyed part of the machine. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the weird thing is too, what if it was doing weird stuff and opening portals, or who knows? But I know when they're running the machine, nobody's around. They completely evacuate.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lockout tagout system on there for when they fire that thing out, and it has repetitive controls.
Huh. I did not know that.
You don't want to be anywhere near that thing.
I think they learned their lesson on that.
Yeah. Anybody ever play the game Half-Life? The first 20 minutes of that game, a generator like that kind of blows up in your face, and you get thrown from portal to portal to portal. Like, not that that's really happened in real life or anything, but I'm feeling that's what they're trying to avoid.
Well, they had one scientist that is missing.
Just straight up missing.
Still missing today. Never found.
He fell in the portal.
He fell in.
Every once in a while,
they wrote him down as MIA. And
did he have during the Clintons?
They open it and throw in some water and food every once in a while.
Yeah, right. Like or it's like in Harry Potter. It's like he's just in the bottom of that deep chest. You wouldn't believe me what's in there.
Yeah, it seems like they've tightened security way up. Like you said, they clear the whole floor out. No one is there, and it all seems to fit with that time when they fired the collider up to near maximum capacity, because when that thing collided, there were reports coming out of there that were other than ordinary.
Wow, really? That would be interesting to dive into deeper. Also, get details on that.
There were reports coming out of there of spirits, good and evil, in people psychologically losing their minds. These are some of the brightest scientists in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say probably a high percentage of them are probably atheists. So it wasn't the expectation of something like that happening. It really happened. They're messing with.
Yeah. They have people from all different cultures and religions working on that project.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's really this nefarious portal crazy satanic thing, that if people actually know what they're doing, or if they're just doing a particular job and everybody doesn't even know that they're doing something.
No, you might have a little bit of both. You might have people that know what the actual objective is, and the other ones are just they're workhorses. They're kept ignorant, they're kept dumb just to do the work that they need to do in order for these people to achieve what they're actually trying to achieve.
Compartmentalized. They wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
They know their little piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. They know only what they need to know. Interesting stuff, guys. Interesting stuff. Well, we're at a couple hours here, and we started an hour before this.
Already?
Yeah, I know, right? I know. So, and I already took about 3 hours of you guys' time. I appreciate you guys hopping on and talking about this. This is a good deep dive. This one was a lot of fun, really interesting, and
Creeps me out.
It is creepy. It's a little bit disturbing. I mean, it's easy to throw accusations out there, but there's stuff like this ceremony that really are kind of hard to ignore. And you watch it, you're like, man, really? Are you guys just doing this right out in front of everybody's faces? It's hard to deny the possibility of that. So, yeah, it's the fun part of this. This is all, like I said earlier, research and reporting, and for educational purposes. You can make your own judgments on this, everyone. But we definitely, through all this, we've found that there's definitely something. There's definitely something not quite. I don't know. There's something up there. It's interesting stuff, to say the least.
I finally found that note. So when they turned it up, they went to 40 tera electron volts. I have no idea what that means, but that's what it was.
Wasn't that compared to, what'd you say earlier, 13?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a big jump. Yeah. You're talking about 3.5 times its normal run rate. Yikes.
Yeah, you talk about the rituals, but you also have some of the brightest minds in the world openly discussing opening portals. I mean, they flat out say that. Not to mention gravitons. They've actually launched them, Lord knows where, as to where they've disappeared, literally disappeared. There's people, some of these bright minds theorize they've went into other dimensions.
Oh, no kidding.
Like literally.
I did see something about that too.
That's open discussion. There's articles about it in scientific journals where gravitons have actually went to what they theorize are other dimensions. So they're talking about potentially sending messages, stringing gravitons together to send messages to other dimensions. This is legitimate science. It's not conspiracy theory or crazy talk. They're doing it. Gravitons are disappearing. That's something to think about.
Wow.
That where the nano gravity comes in that they're working on?
I don't know. That's right. You did mention something about that. Tell us a little bit more. I apparently have a quiet mic here, so I'm gonna see if I can figure that out. But yeah, tell us what you were finding with that.
So I just found that about an hour before the show, and there was a scientist that had written a paper, and I guess got the attention of CERN in one of the 4 forces that humankind has never been able to harness. One is gravity. So CERN is able to create a nano gravity field. So basically what they can do is the way I understand it, is make a scale model, because it's nano, and actually try to distort gravity and bend the fabric of gravity. They were talking about time-space continuum. The
time travel.
Yeah, we're talking time travel, portals, warp speed. Pretty crazy stuff.
No
Truly.
kidding. That's the stuff that movies are made up of.
Yeah, literally.
Star Wars.
Star Wars, Star Trek. All of them combined.
SG-1.
Yeah, I guess you could beam me up.
SG-1, big time.
Speed.
Yeah, beam me up, Scotty, right? Which, a little bit of what was that? A Mandela effect there. He never actually says, beam me up, Scotty.
That's right.
Interestingly enough, but all right, guys. Well, yeah, there's still a lot more. We're just beginning to scratch the surface on this, and but hopefully it's kind of sparked a little bit of curiosity in everybody out there to go and do some of your own research, and yeah, it's interesting stuff. We could probably go on for hours and hours about this, but we're gonna I think we're gonna wrap it up for the night. I appreciate you guys hopping on. This was awesome.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for all your
thanks.
help this week. Yeah. So just a little bit of housekeeping. We've got Pathways tomorrow night. Jason, did Jason announce who he's having on there? I didn't see. Did you guys see anything?
If he did, I don't recall, but I think it's going to be very special. He's excited.
Oh, okay. All right. So he's got something special planned for tomorrow. So don't miss that. We got Pathways tomorrow. We also have, if you join the app, which is over up there, www.socialredpill.com. If you're not already on there, we have game night tomorrow. There's a prayer and meditation group tomorrow. Sundays are always packed. I think Josh has crypto class for those that are in that crypto class. Sorry, I was just looking at the chat. But yeah, we've got that stuff going on tomorrow. Do we still have that donations for the Thibodeauxs family? I know that the goal was met like the day of, but I think that there's still donations being accepted to go above and beyond that. So to the family that donated and to everybody else that donated, you guys are awesome. I mean, it's special being a part of that. Part of a community, a group that does something like that for somebody that's in need. And I tell you, I know that Josh had mentioned when he was talking about this that it took a lot of convincing to for the family to accept it, and I can understand. And it's just it's cool. It's so cool being a part of a community that rallies together for somebody that has a moment of need. And I mean, it's just bravo. Job well done, everyone. Job well done. If you didn't donate or are unable to, I'm sure that there's going to be other ones out there. This is probably going to be more frequent, I imagine. This is the second time, so I imagine it'll be a third time. So keep rallying together. You guys are awesome out there. Wonderful community. Keep lifting each other up. And to everybody, thank you. Thank you for watching. All right. Till next week. Have a good week, guys.